Many among us who used to watch Doordarshan in the late 80s would remember with nostalgia a young, handsome, and vibrant IAS officer anchoring programs for the youth. He was an inspiration to many of my generation. Today, it's my pleasant and proud privilege to introduce him to the Lions fraternity, Mr. MP Joseph, IAS, former UN and Indian civil servant. MP Joseph belongs to the 1978 batch of Indian Administrative Service, Kerala cadre. In the previous year, he has been selected to the IPS and had completed his training in the Police Academy at Hyderabad. Mr. Joseph holds a master's degree in Human Resource Development from the Victoria University, Manchester, UK, and a master's degree in Solid State Physics from the Cochin University of Science and Technology. Joseph began his career in the IAS, winning the prestigious Renu Sandhu Gold Medal of the 1978 batch from the Lal Bahadur Shastri National Academy of Administration, Missouri. Mr. Joseph had an illustrious career in the IAS in Kerala cadre, starting his career in the state as sub-collector of Trichur and later moving on as district collector of Ernakulam, where he had the rare privilege of holding the charge of the mayor of the city of Cochin for 2.5 years concurrently. Many of the development works of this city were initiated during his tenure. He won the state government's award for the best performing district collector. Later, he was appointed as a Labour Commissioner of Kerala and holds the record for being the longest ever period for any Labour Commissioner in the state. As Labour Commissioner, he was the first one to introduce computers into work, at least one organization, and it was a breakthrough for the state since at that point of time, there was a stiff resistance from the trade unions against computerization. He was the CEO of the Headlord Workers Welfare Fund Board, which the board was constituted by him. During the first Gulf War, Joseph headed a team of Ministry of External Affairs that worked with the Indians fleeing from Kuwait through Iraq-Jordan border. As leader of the Government of India team, contributed to the safe return of 1 lakh of Indians fleeing the Iraqi invasion. The then LDF government of Kerala awarded him a special citation letter commending the excellent work done by him in the desert camps. Mr. Joseph joined the International Labour Organization, ILO, in the year 1992 and started up in India the ILO's program to fight child labor and promote school education. He spent over a dozen of years in the most rural and backward districts of the state, backward districts and states of the country, sensitizing parents, communities, employers, schools, and school teachers, educationists, trade union leaders, politicians, administrators, media, NGOs, etc., on the economic need for ending child labor and sending all children to schools in order to augment the human resource of the country. During the period, he worked closely with the government of India and with over 20 state governments, as well as with persons like Nobel laureate Kailash Satyarthi, etc. International program on elimination of child labor of the ILO in India that Mr. Joseph set up has become global vehicle to end the child labor. The International Program of Elimination of Child Labor is not only ILO's biggest program, but also the world's largest program on child labor. He brought up the need to end child labor into public consciousness within India and molded opinion and attitudes on it from one of denial of child labor and its social acceptance to one of concern and need for change. His work led to funding of child projects in India from international and national agencies. His work and its impact has been highlighted not only in the discussions of Lok Sabha and many state assemblies, but even in the British House of Commons. MP Joseph's work in India touched the lives of many lakhs of children. His work is assessed as having directly ensured over 10 lakhs of poorest of poor children who could otherwise have been child laborers were admitted to schools and retained there. The indirect impact of his work would be many times that number. These children are today all economically independent young adults living across the country and well above the poverty line, who, but for Joseph's work on child intervention, would have still led a miserable life of deep poverty and illiteracy. The economic and social impact of his work is enormous. Later, Joseph moved to ILO in Cambodia. Joseph's work in Cambodia led the royal government of Cambodia to commit ending the worst forms of child labor by the year 2016, the first country in the Southeast Asia to do so. He has won the Cambodia's prestigious Saha Maitri Award from the Prime Minister of Royal Kingdom of Cambodia. Returning back to Kerala in 2012, after 2 decades of being away for 2 decades, he became the advisor of the government of Kerala on labor reforms, industry relations, and project financing. In that role, he conducted a detailed study of domestic migrant laborers in the state today. MP Joseph has written and published numerous articles and technical papers on a variety of issues, and a travelogue named My Driver to Long, which is based on his Cambodian experience. He has also published articles of topical interest in newspapers, etc. His recent articles in Malayalam Manorama on May Day on the problems of guest workers and variety of different topics in the week has attracted much thought and attention. Proficient in speaking about 8 languages, he is a much sought after speaker in English and Malayalam. He writes extensively in English and Malayalam. These days, he's a frequent speaker on webinars and Zoom on variety of topics of current interest. The young, handsome, graceful IAS officer whom we used to watch on Doordarshan, today seasoned with time and experience and as graceful as ever, has recently concluded Youth Express, a runaway hit program for the young people on Asianet News, and is actively present in social media and public platforms, leaving us to believe that as far as he is concerned, the best is yet to arrive. Ladies and gentlemen, with these words, it's my pleasant and proud privilege to present before you the guest speaker of the day, Mr. MP Joseph, IAS. Thank you.